All right, grace and peace to each and every one of you. My name is Bishop Keith Farmer, and I'm the administrative assistant to Apostle Wayne T. Jackson. Apostle is not going to be on the call. He has a previous commitment, but he did not want this call to be canceled or postponed based on his availability. It's very important to him that this information is given to pastors and leaders across the country, because many of you that know Apostle, you know that his heart is towards leadership. That was the reason why many years ago he started the Impact Television Network, and he began to reach out to pastors. The only request he asks you today is, once you get this information, please make sure that you pass it to another pastor in your community that could be blessed by this information. This is something that we all could be blessed by. I want to make sure that the information is given to each and every person that would benefit from it. Thank you for being on today. I want to introduce to you the Director of Global Evangelism from the Impact Television Network. His name is Pastor Brian Jones. Pastor Jones.
Thank you, Bishop Farmer. And also, I just want to take this time to thank Bishop Wayne T. Jackson and the Impact Network, and for making this opportunity to all the business leaders and the pastors and those in your congregation that have small businesses that can benefit from this. You know, I just want to say many of our people in our communities don't access these funds because they either don't know about it or they think that they don't qualify because of the language. And like Paycheck Protection Program, many people assume that they have to have a payroll or a payroll company to qualify, when in actuality, you could be self-employed person that does hair, and you can qualify. So with that being said, Stimulus Geeks has partnered with Untitled Capital and to bring this opportunity to and this knowledge to the community to really make an impact, so funds can go where they really need to go, to people that really need it. And with that being said, I want to introduce to you Damon Melletta, who's the CEO of Odessa. 15 years of commercial lending experience. He's founded Encore Capital in 2007. He's launched many successful lending services and with Heartland Payment Systems. He's a licensed broker and securities broker. He has 10 years experience in the restaurateur in Seattle area, and Eddie Alvarez, who's the partner and COO. 25 years career in financial services, and he's helped launch American Express Merchant Financing as CEO and head of product development, and grew it into one of the largest fintech lenders in the U.S. And so these are really qualified people that are bringing their expertise into the community to help us. So with that being said, I want to introduce Damon to tell us about the company, and he'll introduce Eddie. Thank you, Damon.
Hey, thank you, Brian. Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. We really appreciate the opportunity. As Brian said, we've helped a lot of people over the years with their capital needs, including American Express Merchant Finance, and now we're focused on PPP. And as Brian said, some of the businesses and independent contractors and sole proprietors who missed out on the first rounds of PPP. And so we're going to change that, and we're doing so right now. I was able to meet Eddie when he was with American Express, and I was at Heartland Payment Systems building that lending program. We brokered a lot of great deals over there, including American Express. But now, again, we're building out Odessa and focused on PPP, and we want to deliver as many PPPs to struggling business owners, sole proprietors, independent contractors as possible. We know the struggles. I'm a former restaurant owner in Seattle. We know what's going on right now, and we want to save as many jobs as possible and help as many businesses as possible. So with that, I'll turn things over to Eddie so he can explain how easy this process is and how we can get this out in front of as many business owners as possible to, again, help save jobs, create jobs, and save businesses. So we really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Damon. Good afternoon, everyone. It's truly a pleasure and a blessing to be here with you today. Okay, so Damon spoke a little bit about Odessa, what we do. want to get right into it in the interest of time, the Paycheck Protection Program. So listen, there's just no better deal, right? It's free money. So it's the best deal in town right now. What the Paycheck Protection Program offers, it's a loan. It's a forgivable loan. Forgivable means that it can be turned into a grant that you don't have to pay back, right? Not only is it a forgivable loan, but the proceeds that are forgiven that get turned into a grant will not be taxed by the U.S. government. Okay, and it costs nothing to apply. All of the fees are paid by the government via the Small Business Administration, and it's not based on anyone's credit score. This is also a misconception that I hear a lot. And there is no collateral or personal guarantee required. There are requirements that I'll get into the program for who qualifies, but having a good credit score is not one of them. For those businesses that do not seek forgiveness, and I'm not sure why anybody would not, but it's still a good loan, even on its own. It's a 1% interest loan over 5 years. Okay, but we'll talk a little bit about what it takes to get it forgiven, which I think most businesses should be able to do. And that is the plan. The whole idea behind this program is a stimulus program, right? It's part of the broader coronavirus relief package, of which there was one package, the CARES Act, that happened in March, and then at the end of December, Congress and the president approved, a second $900 billion coronavirus stimulus package, of which the Paycheck Protection Program was a part of. Right? Now, great program. It's the second time around, and what we learned from the first round, is that many small businesses, in particularly minority-owned businesses, have not taken advantage of this program. Okay, not taken advantage nearly as much as the rest of the country. Reasons, common reasons are: one is just awareness, not understanding. As the bishop mentioned a little bit, a lot of misconceptions about qualification and who qualifies. A huge issue has been not having pre-existing relationships with banks that offer Paycheck Protection Program. Banks are not really keen on this program, by the way. They think it ties up all their money. They don't make a whole lot of profit. So they haven't been really out there trying to invite people who aren't their existing customers to apply, and in fact would not allow you unless you were an existing customer. So that was also a really big obstacle, preventing Black-owned, Latino-owned businesses. I'll tell you my own experience. I live here in Miami, and the vast majority of my family and my friends did not take advantage of this in the first round. All right. We're hoping to change that, right? Working together with Stimulus Geeks and your churches. We want to spread the word, right? And we're spreading the word through awareness, through educational programs like this call today. We offer an online application and we work with two SBA certified banks to be able to get you the funds that you need. And we also offer a hotline that Adesso manages. It's actually bilingual for everyone who has questions along the way. We're here to help. Okay. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts. Who's eligible? Okay, this program is not a startup loan for brand new businesses, and it's not a consumer loan. It is a product. It is held for existing businesses that existed before February 15th of 2019. I'm sorry, I should read 2020. My apologies. So before February 15th of last year of 2020. Okay. So you had to have been in business, and then it's open to all types of businesses. Okay, as the pastor mentioned, or as the bishop mentioned, you don't have to have employees. That's the primary misconception. You could be a sole proprietor, an independent contractor, and a self-employed person. I get the question a lot, hey, wait, what's an independent contractor? Well, an independent contractor is are like Uber drivers, a lot of computer programming, people who aren't employees of another company. Okay, they get paid, but then they get paid with, through, or their earnings are reported to the government through a 1099, that's IRS, form in which contractors get paid, versus employees who get W-2s and benefits and everything else. If you're an employee of another company directly, you do not qualify for the program. If you get paid as an independent contractor, you do qualify for the program. And then any small business, which falls below the sizes that I'm going to get into, and nonprofits, church groups, in particular, can take advantage of this program. Okay. The size limits, for most businesses, if this is, again, I mentioned this is the second time around, they have slightly different rules if it's your first time you taking advantage of the program or the second time. If it's the first time, your business or your church just has to have less than 500 employees. If you're a restaurant or a lodging, okay, a hotel, motel, it's 500 people per location, so per restaurant or per hotel. If this is your second time around, they're trying to make it, so that the money stretches, further for smaller businesses. The limit is 300 employees, or in the case of a restaurant or hotel, 300 per location. They have a rule. Oops, let me go back to the page. They have a rule in place if it's your second time around. If this is your second draw, as they say, you need to show that your business has dropped off, that your revenues have fallen by 25% in just in at least one quarter in the year compared to the same quarter last year. Okay, so again, this only applies to people who this is the second time that they're going to seek funding from this program. Okay, and I showed an example here in the bottom of the screen. You see, 2019 on the top row, 2020 in the bottom row, each quarter. In this particular example, this business before the pandemic was up 50%. Then in Q2, their earnings dropped 26%. Then they dropped 20, and then they're up a little bit at the end of the year. This business qualifies because in at least one quarter, in this example Q2, they had a 25% drop in revenue. Okay, but again, if this is your first draw, this is not something that plays into it. So that's the basic eligibility criteria. Okay, I said, like I said before, there's no credit, history standards or anything like that. Now, big question: how much money do I qualify for? Okay, most businesses will qualify for 2.5 times whatever their average monthly payroll is. And what I'm going to review first on this page is for businesses that have employees. On the next page, I'm going to talk about businesses that don't have employees, those independent contractors, right? If you have employees, then your loan is going to be based on your payroll, okay? And your payroll is not just what you pay out in salaries; it's the entire payroll. It's benefits, it's the unemployment insurance, tax that you pay, it's retirement contributions, along with the salaries. Right? So that total, and you'll base it on your 2019 payroll. Before businesses and churches were hurt. I know churches in particular, just like restaurants and hotels, have been hurt tremendously by coronavirus. Right, so they're going to go back to 2019 when things were normal. That's what you're going to use to base your loan on. You're going to take that entire fully absorbed payroll. You're going to divide it by 12, which is your monthly, to make it average per month, and then you're going to multiply it times 2.5. That's how much you can qualify for. Okay. The maximum, if this is your first loan, it's 10 million. If it's your second draw, it's 2 million. And combined, between the first and the second, you cannot get more than 10 million. If you got 10 million on first time, you don't qualify for the program. So restaurants and lodging, they can actually, since they've been impacted more so than most other industries, they could actually get asked for 3.5 times their average monthly payroll cost. I'll mention one more thing, one more detail. You have to adjust your payroll potentially a little bit. They don't allow the employee cost per employee, the actual money that they get, not benefits, just the money. They cap it at 100,000 per employee. So if you have any employees that make more than 100,000 per year, you just have to reduce your payroll amount by that excess that they made over 100,000. And also, if you have employees that don't work in the United States and they're off on mission or something else overseas, then their salary has to be backed out if they're not U.S. based employees. But otherwise, it's your entire payroll expense. So that's for businesses that have employees. Now, what if you don't have employees? Okay, this is most sole proprietors, so you're an independent contractor, self-employed people. They file a 1040 at year end, but then they have to claim their revenues. So the vast majority of America is going to use a Schedule C to do that. I think some farmers and the like might use a Schedule F, right? But they're very much, very, very similar, right? So that's going to be the basis of how much money can I get as an independent contractor. Again, independent contractors, let's say I'm an Uber driver, Uber pays me with a 1099, and I get, they report it to the government, I get a copy, everybody knows that this is how much money Uber paid me. I don't work directly for Uber. They don't give me benefits. I work the hours I feel like working, right? But that 1099 typically, or if you're self-employed, you keep your own books, that gets reported in that Schedule C. There's a line 31, net profit or loss. That number, that net profit or loss, is what you use. If the amount is negative, if the amount is zero, you don't qualify for the Paycheck Protection Program. But if you did report any kind of a profit in 2019, it's the same thing. That number divided by 12 times 2.5 is what you can request. I put an example. If that line is $60,000, you take 60,000 divided by 12. That's 5,000 times 2.5 times. You qualify for $15,000. They do also, just like employees, they do cap it at 100,000. So if you made anything above 100,000, you got to limit it to 100,000. So my second example, if that number is 120,000, you can only use 100,000 divided by 12 times 2.5. That number is 20,833. So in essence, the maximum loan size or forgivable loan size that you can borrow, if you do not have employees, is 20,833. So that's how much you can borrow. Keep moving along. Okay, now what's the process? So I review who's eligible, how much money you can get now. Now, how do I do this, right? Process is very straightforward. Okay, you go to stimulus-ppp.com. Okay, you're gonna get there. It's a landing. It's a page with with information. It's co-hosted with our friends at Stimulus Geeks. Okay, so you're gonna see see information, recaps a lot of what we just reviewed here, right now. Okay, and then when you're ready, you're gonna hit that apply now button. Okay, and you're going to then drop and begin taking the application. And you'll be directly applying with one of our partner SBA certified banks. Okay, they're fintechs that make the process easy, because there's an online application that's going to guide you. It's going to guide you. It's going to ask you, hey, do you have employees or do you not have employees? Do you, is this your first PPP loan, or is this your second draw? Based on what you choose, then it's going to take the path that is appropriate to you and ask the information that would be needed. They'll ask you for the information so that loan size could be calculated for you, right? You're going to, then say, hey, submit. Okay, and that application is going to go to the Small Business Administration to basically get approval and hold your funds aside. Okay, this loan is guaranteed, right? So if heaven forbid, your business should not survive, you're not personally accountable. The bank's not going to be out the funds. The U.S. government, through the Small Business Administration, is the one who is guaranteeing the loan and will foot the bill, if for businesses that may not survive. But hopefully with these funds, it'll help you survive, right? So basically, it'll go to the SBA for approval and to set aside your funds. At the same time, in parallel, the bank's going to review the documents that you'll upload. You'll upload the documents, and they'll tell you very specifically, again, based on what kind of business you are, they'll tell you, okay, this is what we need just to validate the information that you put on your application. Okay, and I'm going to review those on the next page. What are those documents? Okay, then you're going to e-sign the application. At the end, once it's approved, they'll send you a loan agreement that you'll e-sign, and then they'll release your money. How long will the whole process take? Well, it a little bit depends on you, obviously, getting in there and putting in the information that's needed. Okay. After that point, it depends on the backlog that the SBA has and the lenders have in being able to review all the documents. It should not be any more than 4 weeks. It'll more than likely be closer to like 3 weeks to get through the entire process. So that is the process. Remember, stimulus-ppp.com. That's where you go to start it off. Okay, what are the documents that are required that they're going to ask you for? If you have employees, they're going to ask for your 2019 business tax return. Okay. If on the first draw, if it's a second, it may also ask you for, no, they won't, because you haven't submitted it yet. So it's really 2019. Then they're going to ask you for 2019. There's a form that most companies with employees put through. It's the IRS 940. It's where you basically say, hey, how much, what's that total payment to all employees, right? Line 3 there. That's what they really use to validate at least the actual payroll or paycheck side of things, right? So they'll ask that for 2019. They'll also ask for, there's companies with employees also do an IRS 940 typically, okay? And they're gonna want it for Q1 of last year. As well. So that's the and then they're also to be able to support whatever you're saying are all your other expenses, your insurance expenses, your taxes and that kind of thing. It's a payroll summary report that if you're using a payroll company, they'll typically provide you, or they always provide you. Okay, and that in itself may provide all the evidence of the taxes that you paid. If it doesn't, then you can provide other evidence that, yeah, hey, this is what I paid, for the retirement benefits or whatever benefits you offer. So that's for companies that have employees. Those that don't, it's a lot easier. They're gonna just ask you for that 2019 Schedule C. Okay. what I'm sharing with you is typical. This is what, is the typical way around. Lots of exceptions, lots of scenarios, that we can't go into every scenario, but maybe I don't have a Schedule C, but I have my 1090s, or, I don't file this, but I file that, right? Ultimately, the bank just wants something, official that'll validate that your either your income or your salary information is valid, right? So there is some flexibility if you don't have all of these particular documents. Okay, and so that is now, you'd be done. Basically, going back to this chart, you complete the information, you upload, what the requirements that they're going to ask you for those things. I'm just giving you a heads up on what typically you'll be asked for. You'll e-sign it, you'll get your money. Now you're going to want to know, okay, how can I get that loan turned from a loan to a grant? That is, how can I get it forgiven, right? Okay, that's the last. This is the last slide I'll share, and then we'll open it up, for questions. So basically, first of all, to get it forgiven, you have to use the money for certain things. Okay, so if you're a business with employees, you need to use it on payroll. That was the original intention of this program, was that people don't get rid of their entire, all of their employees, right? So given that you're asking for the money based on your payroll expense, most people can show that, hey, listen, during the thing called a covered period, covered period is the time after you get the loan, and it could be as little as 8 weeks to 24 weeks, in which you're spending all that money, okay, that you got. Okay, most companies can show that during that period of time, yeah, I spent it on payroll, right? Because I didn't fire all my employees, right? So hence the money you gave me, which was based on my payroll, I spent on payroll. Okay, but they only require 60% of it to be used on payroll, and that again is also including benefits and taxes. The balance, you can just show that you made rent payments, or utilities, some personal protection equipment, even supplies. If you have a restaurant,
yeah,
your food supplies can be used as well. Yeah. So that's for so that's what you can spend it on. Businesses without employees, same categories. There's no 60% rule, but they just have to show if you pay yourself, as let's say a corporation with no employees, and you're the only one, and you pay yourself, that's fine. Just show that you paid yourself. Rent, mortgage, utility, same areas. But there's something almost easier, or that is easier. They allow businesses without employees to claim something called an owner compensation replacement. That basically it's an amount 2.5 times your net profit, which is the same amount that you were allowed to borrow to begin with, right? So just by claiming this owner compensation replacement, it's fairly guaranteed that businesses without employees are going to get this loan forgiven. Okay. So these are just details. By the way, you don't have to worry about anything of this part until like 4 months from now, right? Because you actually apply for forgiveness down the road after you use the money, okay, which is during that period of time, 8 to 24 weeks, okay? And the application is also online. You go online, with the bank, I want to get it forgiven, and you'll answer the questions. It'll guide you to do that. You can do it really anytime over the next 5 years, right? Until that loan is completely paid off. But you're going to want to do it before you have to make your first loan payment, right? And your first loan payment doesn't come till 10 weeks after the maximum 24 weeks of covered period. So you don't have to, it's actually, I put 14 months. It's really like 15 months that you're not going to have to make a loan payment. Anytime during those 15 months, you can go in and request to have the loan forgiven, okay, and not be making any payments in the meantime. But I would recommend you do it right after that, you know, after these like 4 months have gone by, that you can just demonstrate, hey, I got $20,000. Look, during this period of time, I spent $18,000 on payroll and I spent $2,000 on rent. Boom. Okay, done. You got it forgiven. So that's forgiveness. I'm just giving you the heads up of, you know, because many people are concerned, you know, yeah, if I take this loan now, will I be able to get it forgiven? So yes, it's very straightforward. The government is not making it hard. They're making it easy to get this. They want to get money into the hands of small business owners to keep employees on the payroll. So that is the loan forgiveness program thing. So that's all the prepared material. I think happy to take any questions that you may have.
Suppose you own more than one business.
Are you taking questions in the chat room or online?
The question was, what if you own more than one business?
Yep. Okay. Great question. You would apply individual. You can apply individually for each.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Yes.
For if you're applying the second time, you got the first PPP and the second time around, how does a self-employed minister show a 25% reduction in gross receipts? How do you show that? What are they looking for?
Yep. Good question. I don't know specifically in a nonprofit church how they would show. Can I ask you a question? Do you file taxes?
Yes.
Do you keep accounting with like monthly or quarterly? Actually, quarterly is what you need, of what your donations were, whatever your receipts are for the church.
Yeah. So I guess what the way I was thinking is they probably want church information more than personal information to keep up with the reduction or gross receipts. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you're, and this is, you know, if you're filing, you will be providing whatever tax documents you have. Usually there are schedules depending on what type of, how it's organized. There's a scheduler where you're putting all your financial information, right? And so
yeah.
But you can, if you have it in your taxes, you have 2019. I know most people have not filed their 2020 tax returns yet, right? But you can use what you're as a draft. This is what I'm going to file, if that provides it. Else you just provide whatever accounting materials you have that shows, hey, in 2019, I'm going to go back to that slide on the area. Just anything that shows, hey, here's Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 of 2019. And often the schedules within your tax return might have it also already. Else, your, whatever other accounting books you're keeping, and then show the same for this year. It's all really about, I'm going to guess that 99% of all churches in America had not a 25% drop, but probably a 100% or 50% drop in revenue year over year, right? So you're just going to want to show that and show, yeah, look, in any one quarter, right? Look at my revenue was down.
Okay.
So,
I just want to be sure. So they're asking about the church's information, not your personal.
This is about the church. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got you. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
So I have a question for a person that is filing self-employed and they have not filed yet in 2020, but they did file in 2019. So if they made $100,000 in 2019, and they're reporting a drop for 2020, is it pretty much self-validating of what they're reporting because they have not yet done their taxes? What would they submit to show the 25% reduction?
Yep. So I'm sorry. Question: is this first draw or second draw?
First draw.
Okay. So first draw, you won't even be asked about that because there is no that 25% drop year over year is only if this is your second draw. Okay. So if first draw, basically it's going to just based on what you reported in 2019 and you're done. Right. So second draw is where they'll ask you for something to show, to validate that there was a 25% drop. Now, right now, people haven't filed. So what they'll accept is a draft of what you will file. Okay. No.
That's what I wanted you to get to.
Yeah. If it's your second draw, which is where it matters, at first draw, it doesn't matter. Second, you put a draft of what you're going to file. Later on, validation is until, the forgiveness doesn't happen till, like 4 months from now, right? At that point, they may ask you for your actual filing.
So can you do that with the first round also?
Well, remember, the first round, you're going to base it on your 2019, right, return. That they're going back to pre-pandemic to baseline how your business was doing, all right, to be able to then do your funds. So if your first draw, they don't even care about what happened in 2020, all right. There is one, again, there's a lot of different scenarios, right? I've gotten the question a few times already through different forums or on Facebook and the like. Hey, I started my business in January, January 1st of 2020. So I was in business, I was in business. Rule number one, you have to have been in business before February 15th, 2020. Again, that's a mistake. February 15th, 2020. I was in business, but I didn't file 2019 because I just started. Could I qualify? And the answer is yes. You have to be able to demonstrate that you're in business. So invoices, something, something that shows that you were operational before February 15th, 2020. And in that scenario, you would submit your draft of your 2020 tax return, okay, to be able to then use that to base your loan on. Okay. Most people, again, most typical businesses or self-employed, boom, they'll just go back to 2019. If your business started January 1st, then you could also, submit your 2020. If you have doubts, hey, wait, you can start the application, right? It's fairly easy, fairly straightforward, and then within there, when you go to stimulus-ppp.com, there's phone numbers there, because that's our team who are manning the phones, helping with these kind of questions that you may have. So beyond this call, if you still have questions, it costs nothing to apply. You can start the process. They'll ask you questions, okay, and our team is there to help you.
Can I ask a question?
Of course. Please.
I wanted to find out. We have a ministry up here in Alaska, and it got started about the end of 2019. Actually, it was October 31st, 2019, and we're a nonprofit, but we don't have like a 501c3 designation. So there really wasn't anything to, as far as funds and stuff and everything was concerned in 2019 and mostly through 2020. So in our case, and with having a 501c3 designation, but still being a nonprofit, we have our business license and all that kind of good stuff. Would we be eligible to apply for this?
So were you considering any kind of business? I know you started in October. Whether you're designated, I'm going to the beginning here. Okay, whether you're designated a 501c or any kind of business, all right, it won't matter. As long as you're a business, right, of any type. And the way you're a business is, well, did you if you have employees, did you file any kind of 940, 941 W-2s, for your employees? If, something that illustrates that, yeah, you have employees and this is how much you paid. If you're self-employed, it typically comes down to this: did you use a Schedule C, right? Okay, then you're a business.
Got you. And yeah, we didn't use a Schedule C. We're a nonprofit ministry up here, so it just someone was just curious as to how we would go about doing that. I mean, there was like no income, and you ended up using fund from basically a settlement that had been won, like from personal funds and everything else, to just start the ministry up. So that's what I was curious about. Yeah,
I have a little personally, just another a side venture with some former colleagues, and we started it up right at the beginning of the year. But we haven't made money right yet, so it's so I can't qualify because there was what the whole purpose of this program is for businesses that have been operational, stay operational, right? So in that particular scenario, I haven't, I wasn't making money, so I can't show it. So no opportunity there, right? But if there was any kind of, revenue at the beginning, you said you started in October. If there's anything coming in at all, maybe you can use that. Again, it's hard. All these specific situations, we'd have to see exactly what you had to show.
Understood. Appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What if you have a business and you missed out on the first round? How does that play in? Is that retroactive?
No, the first round closed, right, in August of last year. Now they have a second round, but the second round, so you can't get now 2 rounds, right? But you can now just get your first round, and the difference is now they do have the different rules, right? So since this is your first, if this is your, if you missed out like 60% or 70% of my friends did on the first round, then you're still applying with the rules that applied towards the first round, right? So which means it means higher limits, and you don't have to show any kind of this drop of year over year. That doesn't apply to you because this would be your first round.
Oh, so I don't have to show any of those percentages down there in Q1, Q2, Q3, etc.
Correct. Yeah, that's only if you already got money first time and now you want more. Okay, they want to show you. Okay, great. Show us that your business was really impacted, and then then you qualify for the second round.
Okay, so the only thing I would have to show, I think, like you said before, was what was it? That was one thing you said.
So basically that you need to demonstrate that as of February 15th, you were working, your business was in business, right? And then depending on, can I ask, does your business have employees or no?
No employees yet.
Okay, so basically go back to your 2019 tax return
Mhm.
and see if you filed the Schedule C. And
Okay.
that's all that they really need for in your case.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
It is, if you don't have employees, it is really easy.
Mhm.
If you had, if you filed this way.
Awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Question. What if you have employees, but they're like family members, but you pay them when they help you throughout your year with your business? You pay yourself and you pay them, but you just kind of put it on your Schedule C as wages.
Right, so if you, yeah, it's a great question. So if you got friends and family helping out when they can, or if what you have is contractors, right, that come in and, they're not, so basically, if as a business, if you issue W-2s, right, then you're going to be considered a business that has employees. If I read into what you're saying, no, my sister helps me out, on Saturdays, and I'll give her $100 or whatever. Then basically, if there's no record of having an employee, then you're filing as if you're self-employed. So whatever you put on your Schedule C, that's what you're filing. I'll expand on your question. Companies that do have 1099. I have a friend of mine. He has a computer. He has some like a tech business. He's got programmers that he hires as he needs, and he pays them as contractors, and he pays them 1099. Here it is. Here's your $500 for for the week. Again, he cannot claim those people as employees. He's not going to go the wage route. He's filing as a company without employees. All those people he's paying though through those 1099s, those independent contractors, they in turn can now apply on their own, right? So that's how it works. If they're employees that you're paying benefits, that you're paying unemployment tax on, that you're issuing W-2s, then you're a business with employees.
Okay, got it. Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Question here. If the church is not a 501c3, what happens?
Does it file as a business?
Yes.
Okay, then that's fine. Then you use again, it's open to 501c, but it's not limited to 501c. It's any kind of business in the US, including nonprofits, could participate. So you would just apply using what we reviewed, for any kind of business with employees or business without employees.
Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left, just to let you know.
If I can ask a question,
Please.
In regards to, I'm thinking about small churches, and when I say small churches, primarily storefronts with less than, let's say 50 members, 100, somewhere in there, that had volunteers, and maybe whatever the case, if they had employees or not, but did not record that in the way of, they don't file taxes. Can they use IRS form, I think it was 940, you said? Could those monies be entered on that form as
okay, if I understand your question, hey, I started a church, but it's really small. I haven't really organized. In 2019 I didn't file taxes for that church as a company.
Correct.
Right, so there's no, IRS is not going to find my church listed in its documents. Could I ask the question, how about in 2020? What's your intention? Are you going to file taxes for the church as a company?
I think that, and I'm asking for some of those pastors that I service, I think that that would be the intention, you know, if what needs to happen. I was
Okay. So, and would the church have any actual employees that over last year, like, were you issuing W-2s for anyone last year?
No.
No, okay, gotcha. Okay, so you have potentially, you can show that my church was operational, you know, in February, you know, 15th of last year, okay? But, you know, it started, let's say, in January. It's the same scenario. You're going to be trying to see if you can, I guess the opportunity is, could I apply as a business without employee? Okay. And then what you would have two things that you'd have to provide is one, something that shows, yep, it's operational, some invoice, something that shows on February 15th, this church was here, it's alive, boom. And then you're gonna, since you didn't have 2019 Schedule C, you're gonna have to show this is what I'm going to file as my Schedule C for 2020.
Okay.
Okay, so they will accept a 2020 draft 1040 Schedule C.
Okay.
And presuming there's a profit, right? Then that would be the basis for your
request,
right? If there's no profit, you know, then again, 2.5 times 0 is going to be zero. Yeah.
Okay, sir. I have three questions that are in the chat that we need to address. Okay. The first one is, if you have a business that was in work but did not get documents for it until 2020.
Again, it depends when. If it launched after February 15th, then you would not qualify. If it launched before and you can show it, then it would.
Okay. The second question is, what if you received an SBA loan? Can you still get a PPP loan?
Yes, they're independent. If you have like a regular small business loan, it's independent. A lot of people also took an EIDL, so an emergency, I forgot what the I stands for, disaster loan. Those could actually, if you had one of those, then you could actually put it together. They'll ask you, did you take one? That's part of the application. Yes, they allow you to add it into this loan as well, because the EIDL was a loan. If you make it part of this, it can become a grant. So those are, so basically a regular conventional SBA loan is independent to this. An EIDL, which is also was issued by the SBA, you can make it part of this.
And the third one is, if you are a pastor but still employed by another business, would I still qualify?
Yes, a lot of people, great question. I could have a day job and I can do an Uber at night as an example, right? Well, if my day job, if it's, you know, if I get a W-2 regular employee, that portion of my life, I cannot. My other company is going to claim me, right, as in their solicitation. But my night gig, my second job, right, in this example, my church activity, then that portion of your life, then that you can absolutely apply for.
Okay, and I'm going to see if you can answer this question good. Who do I call if I'm interested in acquiring the EIDL or other grants and other stimulus programs other than the PPP? How can I get help with those?
I think you call our friends at Stimulus Geeks, because that is what they specialize on, right? And you know, we're very focused on our core business is loans, right? And right now the best loan in town is the Paycheck Protection Program, so we're very focused on that. Stimulus Geeks, you know, they have a lot of experience in a lot of different governmental programs and grants that are available. So you should go see them.
Okay, thank you.
We'll make that check out for Leandre. He paid his tax a week ago.
Well, we've basically ran out of time, guys, but I do want to tell you this. We're going to have a replay video on this that will be available at stimulusgeeks.com. Again, that's stimulusgeeks.com. You can let your friends and your parishioners and your people know where to get this information. Again, that's stimulusgeeks.com. As well, get more information on other loans and grants and business consulting on how to acquire that information. We want to take this time to thank Bishop Wayne T. Jackson again and the Impact Network, and also want to thank Bishop Keith Farmer. And I'm going to ask Bishop Farmer if he would be so kind to close us out today.
Thank you, Pastor Jones. Thank you, everyone, for being on. I appreciate this great information. We have one more question that came up, and this person wants to know how they recommend this service to their community. Is there a number or something that we can give out to the people to reach out to? There it is. He just put it up. So, Pastor, that's got the message. Here's a number that you can give out to people in your community to call if they have any questions or anything like that. All right.
And they can also go to stimulus-ppp.com and apply there and get information there too as well.
All right. God bless each one of you, Father. We thank you for this time of knowledge and wisdom. We bless the company. We bless those that are on this call. We thank you for your opportunity. We bless you in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless all of you. On behalf of Apostle Wayne T. Jackson, we'll talk to you again soon.